Hey, welcome back everybody. Today I want to talk to you about the top 3 assault rifles that you should be using when you're going to infill in DMZ. These are really good for bots as well as armored bots, but they're also really good at killing enemy players, so that way you can have the best of both worlds. The first weapon that I really think you should be using in DMZ is the M13B. I've got a really good build for it, and I'll tell you what, this weapon absolutely fries and is really easy to use. The first thing I like to throw on is the optic. Now, you can use whatever you want, but I personally like to stick to the lower zoom optics. Anything basically under, I would probably say the AMOP. The AMOP V4 is my favorite, but anything under that'll work good. I would just say don't get into 3 or 4X because it can get a little squirrely with the recoil. The second attachment that I like to throw on this is a 14-inch Bruin Echelon barrel. Now, I really like this attachment. For one, there's only 2 options. But 2, it helps with the damage range and the bullet velocity, which are really going to help you out, especially when you're dealing with multiple bots at one time or a couple enemy players. For the muzzle, I like to throw on the Silent Fire XG6. Now, I really like this, of course, because it has a sound suppression to help keep you off the map, but it also helps with your bullet velocity and your recoil as well. Now, it does have a little ADS penalty to it, but it's not a problem because this really isn't bad for ADS at all. Next, I would throw on Overpressured. Now, this is one that people may kind of find surprising because a lot of people like to use high velocity. I love high velocity. I use it a lot, but I like Overpressured because it helps the target flinch, which means the bots can't necessarily shoot back at you while you're shooting them. So for armored bots, this will kind of keep them paralyzed while you're trying to get them killed. The last one, which is pretty obvious, is a 60 round mag. You're going to be going up against big sets of bots and maybe a full team of enemy players at a time, and you will get killed if you spend too much time reloading. The second weapon that I really think you should be using in DMZ is a TAC 56. Now, this may seem like an obvious choice, but there's a couple specific things about it that I want to talk about. So first, I'm going to start with the optic. Optic can be whatever you want. I will say, same with the M13, I wouldn't go into the higher zoom optics, maybe even to the 3 and 4X. I just don't think it works very well for this gun because it hits very hard, but it does struggle with the recoil a little bit when you get into those higher zooms. So on this one, I personally have the SZ recharge on it. It's a pretty good one. It's similar to the AMOP V4, but you can choose whatever you like. The next thing I like to throw on this is a 17.5-inch Tundra Pro barrel. Now, there's only 2 barrel options, but I chose this one because it goes for the damage range and the bullet velocity, and both of those are super good for DMZ and especially for armored bots. Next, the same as the M13, I threw on the Silent XG6, which I think is a really good overall muzzle, and is one that I pretty much use on most of my weapons that it's available for. For this, you're going to get your sound suppression, your bullet velocity, and it's also going to help keep your recoil in control, which is super helpful as well. For the ammunition, I went ahead and went with the high velocity. This does have a fairly slow bullet velocity, so that velocity helps out a ton on this weapon. And then, of course, as we always do in DMZ, we want to go with the highest mag we can, because if you're going against 5 armor bots at once, you're going to need to have a lot of rounds to mag dump right into them. The third weapon that I recommend you use in DMZ is a Tempest Razorback. This gun is new and it's exciting to use. It's got a cool look to it, and I definitely think it brings a freshness to the game. Something really cool about this gun is the barrel, the 17-inch IOXL, has an optic built into it, so you don't have to burn an attachment throwing an optic on it. Also, I like to throw on the FSOV laser because this is going to help with your ADS, as you see here. It's also going to help with your sprint to fire time because this can be a pretty slow moving gun. Next, as always, I'm going to throw on the Silent Fire XG6. This is, once again, it's going to help keep us off the map. It's going to help with that bullet velocity, and it's going to help with our recoil as well. On this one, I do like to go ahead and throw the high velocity rounds on it. Helps you get to the enemies quicker, the bots, the real players, whatever you want. And it definitely helps you wipe those squads a lot quicker. The last thing that I would like to throw on this is a 60 round mag. It is super important to have a large magazine in this. That reload time can get you killed so easy, especially if you got a whole group of armored bots. You don't want to be reloading because you're going to dump a lot of rounds into each one of them. So those are the top 3 ARs that I think you should be using in DMZ right now. I'll tell you, DMZ has been definitely my favorite lately. It definitely is way better than multiplayer, which I think is in a terrible state right now. It's just not fun at all. Warzone 2 is okay, but I think this DMZ mode is just way better and way more enjoyable. The adrenaline rush of coming up against another squad, not knowing if you're gonna end up teaming up or killing each other, I just think it's fun. There's a little bit of mystery to it, and the trash talk definitely gets rolling as well. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that sub button. I'm going to be posting a lot more DMZ content here. I'll be posting Warzone content, and we're going to be uploading a lot more than we have in the past. Just remember, everything you do matters. I hope you have a great day.